迎大家收看亚洲保时捷凯迪拉杯2024年赛季第8回合的赛事直播。现在我们在泰国棒胜街道赛道，可以看到身后有非常多热爱赛车运动的朋友们，是比昨天来的更加的热闹。那今天的气候呢，早些时候是非常的炎热，现在呢已经转为了阴天，相信这将会给我们的车手们带来一些比较好的优势，让他们有更好的开始。Hello everyone and welcome back to Bangsaen Street Circuit for round 8 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2024 season. As you can see at my back, there's plenty of people. I think there's much more people compared to yesterday to join us with the Motorsport Carnival. The weather has been changed a little bit as now it has become cloudy. Let's hear from our pit reporter Steve Dawson on what he has to say on the grid.
Yeah, it's got cooler and cloudier very quickly over the last hour, so who knows what might happen. As you say, though, the crowd out in full force, here to see their hero, Mongkong Sathyantirikul. They were delighted to see him on the top step of the podium yesterday, but the officials have downgraded that win to second. Too much movement in the starting grid, they say. He's 3 places behind Eric Kwong on the grid today. Let's see what happens. Among the pros, well, Florian Latour is in pole position, but he's struggled to get off the starting grid well. Let's see if he stays ahead by the time they get to turn 1. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of today involves Bao Long. He's in P5. He's a Pro-Am driver, don't forget. He's got 3 pro drivers directly behind him. So, Sammy, that battle for 5th could be the most engaging aspect of today's race.
I agree with that, and as we see in all of the races, the Pro-Am and the and the pro drivers are always very competitive. Let's see what happens later. Thank you so much, Steve. Let's pass it back to our commentator.
Thank you then to Sammy and Steve, and hello and welcome, of course, to another beautiful day here at the Bangsaen Street Circuit. I'm Lewis McGlade and I'll be taking you through round 8 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Once we're done with the race later on, this race here, once we're done with this race later on in the afternoon, we'll be halfway through the championship. There's 18 rounds, 16 rounds rather, in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, and obviously with the end of round 8, we'll be halfway through. I can do maths, I promise. Of course, it should be an interesting race. It was so yesterday. That was won by Chris van der Drift in, to be fair, fairly fantastic fashion. But yeah, he had to do a little bit of work to get there. Let's take a look at highlights from the race as to how that happened. Of course, highlights from round 7 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. There was already a jump start in the background as the race would begin. It was unfortunately Zhu Zhefeng who was jumping the race start, causing an incident in the background, which would lead to retirements for Eric Zong, Liu Zhouwei, Jackie Wu, of course, Zhu Zhefeng himself, and Zhang Yatzi. It was an excellent start, though, from Martin Ragnier, who'd sneak his way around the outside of Latour to take over the race lead on that run down towards turn 2. However, race control would step in, a safety car, and then eventually a red flag would be called to repair all the cars on the start finish straight and get the race back underway safely. It would be a lengthy red flag that would then see the race order return to its original starting order, which would see Latour back onto pole position. It was an excellent start, though, from Chris van der Drift from the second row of the grid. He'd sneak his way around the outside to take over the race lead, heading down into the second corner. It was Latour in behind, then Ragnier, and then Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, who had an excellent start. Unfortunately for Tsotsi Kwan, it was a retirement from him after contact on the second start, and that car would have to be removed from the racetrack, requiring a safety car. Once we got back racing, though, there was a lot of pressure all over the place, including this from Bao Long, who was trying to get past Nazim Asman at the back end of the pro category and was doing everything he could. Mongkong Sathyantirikul at the head of the AM category would unfortunately get a 10-second post-race time penalty. Meanwhile, Chris van der Drift would lead Florian Latour across the line, who'd take the fastest lap as well. The two of them separated by half a second. It was an excellent race, to be perfectly honest. You know, once we actually got racing, once we got into the rhythm of things, it certainly was a lot of fun. We'll head down, though, to see who Steve's got.
Thank you, commentators. Now joining me on the track today, we have Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Series Manager Alex Imperatori. Let's welcome Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, good afternoon, Sammy. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, it's been 5 years, and I've been told that this has been long overdue that we're visiting Bangsaen Street Circuit again. How is it for you?
Yes, it's our fourth visit here, but first time since 2019. Long overdue. We're really happy to be back. I mean, it's a fantastic event with such a unique atmosphere. And where else can you find, you know, the pit lane and the circuit being right next to the sea, next to the beach? You see how many fans are behind us. It's really special. Not to even mention the track. I mean, the track is so unique. Street circuit, bumpy. The drivers love it.
So now that we are in the midpoint of the season, how's the first half gone?
Yes, we are getting to the halfway point of the season. The championship is truly underway. It was a special opportunity this weekend for Dylan Pereira to close the gap at the top of the standings, as Alessandro Giretti and Mathis Jobert are not here, unfortunately. They have other commitments in Europe this weekend. Unfortunately, it will be a missed opportunity for Dylan, as he cannot start both races due to an accident, which is very unfortunate. But I have to say, the two replacement drivers that we welcome back this weekend, Florian Latour and Chris Van der Drift, have been doing an amazing job for their respective teams and giving us a great show. Yesterday the race was very eventful, and we're looking forward to another great race today with hopefully more racing laps and a great show for all the spectators.
That's some really, really exciting stuff. So we have spent 2 race weekends in Thailand. So where's the series heading to next?
Yes, we had 2 great weekends here in Thailand. Next, we will be in Sepang. Actually, we are introducing for the first time the PCCA Endurance Challenge next time out. Special new format with 3 races in the weekend, including 1 night race and 1 longer 45-minute race with a rolling start. So some new things to look forward to.
That's really, really looking forward to that. So thank you so much, Alex, for today. Let's look forward to what's going to happen on the racetrack today. Hope they have longer time. And let's pass it back to our commentators.
Thank you to Alex Imperatori and to Sammy, not Steve. I can read the runner show, it's fine. Of course, they're excellent to hear. And of course, the excitement for the next portion of the season where, again, yes, sure, we've got 3 weekends of racing left to go, but we do have 8 races in that, including, like you say, the night race and an extended race as well. Should be very interesting to see how these work. To be fair, they should race very well around Sepang. It's obviously a wildly different circuit to what we've got here. I've said before about the opening to the season. You know, we've raced at Shanghai, Suzuka, and then at Buriram, obviously, a few weeks ago at the Chang International Circuit. Compare that to here. This is really the oddity on the calendar. Every other circuit is of a Grand Prix style venue. To then compare it to racing around these tight and twisty streets, it is wildly different. You can see how hot it is. 32 degrees track temperature, air temperature rather. That is the same as it was yesterday. The difference is the chance of rain is higher, the humidity is higher, the cloud coverage is higher, which can make things a little bit thicker. It could generally take the track temperature down slightly. It was 50 degrees yesterday. It is 50 degrees today. Never mind, I'll pump the brakes on that one. We remain the same then, and that'll obviously pick up once the cars start rolling their way round on the formation lap, and especially once they start pumping in these solid lap times round here. Expect that track temperature to rise. We only had 15 minutes of racing yesterday. Hopefully we'll get the full half hour that we were expected to. We'll now head down to actually Steve to see who he's catching up with.
Car number 84, Marco Giltrap, is in P7. First time we've had a chance to chat with Marco. You're right in the middle of a bunch of very fast cars on this tight circuit. How are you going to stay out of trouble?
I think the key is a good start here. That's the best bit of making up spaces anyway, so hopefully we can get a good start. We didn't yesterday, but third time lucky, so we'll see how we go.
17 points yesterday. Do you think you can improve on that today?
It will be difficult for sure. I think we'll rely on some mistakes of others to get that, but if we can just sort of be in that top 6, I think that will be a good result.
Good luck. Drive safely.
Cheers, thank you.
Could be an interesting one for Marco Giltrap. Of course, he will be starting relatively well in this, starting from 7th position. Of course, for Giltrap. It will be directly behind Bao Jinlong, though, of course, who's on the Pro-Am pole. After a victory yesterday, moving his way back. Well, he's always leading the championship, but moving his way back to the top step of the podium. The expectation is he'll be aiming to do very much the same thing again. He's got a solid gap to the rest of the Pro-Am category. A few pro drivers behind him, obviously a few pro drivers ahead. Curious to see how Bao Jinlong is going to approach this one. Let's find out with Steve.
Bao Jinlong, Pro-Am driver, don't forget, but very advanced up the grid in P5 today, Jinlong. Will you be happy to finish 5th?
Yes, I'm so happy.
You have 3 pro drivers behind you. What's your strategy for holding them off?
Just attack. I think I have the same speed with the front pro drivers. So I think I have the chance to go to the podium, over the podium.
Brilliant. We hope to see you there.
Thank you.
Definitely has the pace to go after the podium. Does Bao Jinlong was really attacking the back of Nazim Azman yesterday, and again, I'd expect he'd probably do very much the same. Lovely to see it almost looked like an Insta 360 on his helmet there to get a bit of visor cam for him. Obviously, always good for social media, but always good to give that driver's eye view for what it's like taking on these twisty streets. Of course. That's the Pro and the Pro-Am done. The next up will be the Am category, where Munkung Satintirikul had a race victory stripped of him yesterday after being given a 10-second post-race time penalty for basically an issue on the starting grid and was effectively moved. But we'll head down into the category with someone else to go and see exactly what's happened. It's Eric Kwong.
Is in P12, car number 23. Eric, good to see you again. On your car it says, "Happy birthday, Mina." Can you tell me about that? Who's Mina?
It's just me. It's just my engineer's daughter's birthday today. Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's hope she has a wonderful day. So difficult to overtake, isn't it, on this circuit? Do you think you can catch Munkung Satintirikul today?
I'll try my best. Yeah. We'll do whatever we can, try to catch it up. Yeah.
Seems like slightly cooler conditions in the last hour. Does that make you more comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Again, absolutely love Eric Kwong's livery, and in a very solid position in this championship, but would like to keep picking up the victories. Did have the win yesterday, courtesy of that penalty that I was alluding to for Munkung Satintirikul. So, you know, at least did pick that one up. Of course, the marshals will be handing out the 1 minute board in just a moment's time. And then after that, we'll be sending them back round. Whilst we do that, though, let's talk about the starting grid. It's Florian Latour starting from Chris Vanderdrift on the front row of the grid. Martin Raginger in third position. Did have a couple of good starts yesterday with Rodrigo Diaz Almeida alongside. Bao Jinlong on the Pro-Am pole with Dylan Yip alongside in sixth position, with Marco Giltrap and Nazim Azman in eighth position. Then it's to the Am pole with Munkung Satintirikul once more with Zhang Yatzi, of course, in 10th, rounding out that final position in the top 10. Liu Kai Shun and Eric Kwong will be rounding out the sixth row of the grid with Chao Tzi Kwon and, of course, Henry Kwong, who was battling for the champion a little while ago. Unfortunately, that's kind of dropped off a little bit. Li Chao and John Shen in 16th position with Li Xuan Yu and Hendrik Jayasawati, of course, towards the back end of the top 20, where the final row, inside of which sees Zhu Jiefeng, who jumped the race start yesterday with Christian Cha alongside. Then we've got Adrian De Silva and Jackie Wu. And then the penultimate row of the grid will see Liu Zheve and Yao Liang Bo, one final position. And then, of course, Eric Zong with all the work to do, as he had yesterday. Unfortunately, as much as he had a good start, he got thrown into the middle of the kerfuffle down at, well, not even into T1. It was on the start-finish straight yesterday. We're hoping that we don't see the same. The safety car will lead them round. Then we'll peel off into the pit lane, and I believe they'll all take to the starting grid, where we'll see the race begin. Latour from pole position. Well, he's been notorious for not having particularly good starts, generally. We saw that yesterday from pole position on both of the starts, because obviously we had a race restart yesterday. On both of them, the first one he lost out ideal scenario and probably not ideal comfort for Florian Latour, the 2023 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia champion. The formation lap will begin then. So what they'll do is they're coming out of pit lane now. They run along the start-finish straight, and then they'll do a full lap. You'll get the starting order at the bottom of your screen. If you are jumping in for the first time here this weekend at the Bangsaen Street Circuit, but you have joined us for previous rounds of the 2024 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, you may notice a couple of drivers missing from what we would normally see. Of course, those higher up in the overall category, the likes of Alessandro Gueretti, not here this weekend, being replaced by Latour. Matthias Jalbert being replaced by Vanderdrift, and that car taking its first victory of the season. And also Dylan Pereira, who is here this weekend. However, had a crash earlier on in the weekend, and that car has not been repaired to a safe enough standard to take to the racetrack. So Dylan Pereira's opportunity to potentially move his way up into the championship once more, it seems to have fallen by the wayside as the grid filters its way through. Again, can Munkung Satintirikul put apart the disaster of yesterday, where he had that victory stripped of him? Can he find some hope once more? Can he find his mentality once more? He was so fast yesterday, but just an issue on the race start. That's all it was. And Eric Kwong was able to sneak his way past, courtesy of the penalty, to take the victory will he be able to do so once more here today? Will drivers like Toti Kwan, who of course retired yesterday, a few, 5, 6 drivers that retired from yesterday's race, all expecting to have a solid one here to at least make the most of this tricky weekend. You can see they're down onto the circuit. The cloud coverage has very much come in a little bit more. It's not cooled down much. It's more just got a bit more muggy and a bit more thick and a bit more hot. But alas, the cloud coverage coming over, it does affect the surface temperature of the tyre and, of course, how you drive. I think it might have been Munkong Satantirical yesterday, who was suggesting basically that every single lap that you go round here, the circuit is almost completely different to the previous lap. So you've got to be very careful in that scenario to make sure that you're adapting to the conditions well. You can see the last couple of rows on the bottom of your screen. Liu Wei, Yao Liang, Bo, and of course Eric Zong, of course. They're in 25th position. No 26th car of Dylan Pereira. They're working their way now down what is effectively the back stretch towards the final corner, where they'll find their way into position and then set their sights on the lights and the chase down towards turn 1 and turn 2. You can do the overtake around the outside of turn 1. It's exactly what Chris Vanderdrift did yesterday to sneak his way past, take a very, very well-deserved victory. Dominated the race from that point, was able to keep Latour at bay in fantastic fashion. The difference being that it was a little bit tricky for him to piece his way past. He had to be a little bit brave, a little bit bold, and a little bit aggressive. We are being told, by the way, that there is a technical issue out there, and so we'll be starting the race under safety car rather than with the standard lights procedure. So as far as I'm aware, based on that then, the race should start. It has now started. I was going to say, the race will start as soon as we cross the line, because we've already done the formation lap. So the race is now underway. But the first lap being done behind the safety car, and I believe after this the safety car will come in. Obviously, when it comes to a safety car start, you can't, because of the regulations, you can't do the initial start under a safety car, because that would classify it as a rolling start, which is not the same thing as a safety car start. So it's the technical things in sport where you kind of think that maybe there'd be a little bit of room for it, but no, this is the way that it would be done. This is following the regulations. So the safety car will do the single lap. Already got the note from race control that safety car will be in this lap, and then Florian Latour will have control, which, to be fair, maybe there's been a little bit of sabotaging of those lights from the Team Jebsen squad, because Florian Latour, again, being pretty notorious for poor starts when it comes to the standing variety. He did have a few last year that weren't so ideal, and obviously had the 2 yesterday that weren't great. A single file rolling start might be exactly what Florian Latour and, of course, this field needs. 14 laps onto the clock, or 30 minutes, whichever comes first. If we run green all the way through, it will be the 14 laps comfortably as well, because the laps around here are actually pretty quick. They're only about, well, they're less than a minute 40, less than 100 seconds on the way round. So we've got plenty of time to get the 14 laps of racing in, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we've had a slow opening lap to this race, so we'll have 13 left to go, and I believe already Florian Latour has pulled the plug. Let's see as they'll come out onto the start-finish straight. Obviously, they cannot overtake now. It's only once they've crossed the start-finish line that they can begin overtaking. And the race is officially underway. Green flag in the air. Florian Latour leads down into the first corner, with Chris Vanderdrift and Martin Ragginger in behind. All single file into the first corner, which is exactly as we expected. But what's happening in behind? Is anyone close enough to try anything down into turn 2? At the moment, everyone's going to come through single file as expected. Obviously a much cleaner start yesterday, mostly courtesy of it being done under safety car. 0.6 of a second already Florian Latour has been able to pull out from Chris Vanderdrift. And do remember, the Team Jebsen driver that leads the race was able to set the fastest lap of the race and hound the rear end of Chris Vanderdrift, basically all the way through the entirety of round 7 of the championship. And that is exactly what Chris Vanderdrift will want to do in return to Florian Latour. Down into turn 8 then they go. Of course, this right-hander, the 90-degree turn, before we start snaking our way through the the chicane and then around the back end of the circuit, basically along the coast here at the Bangsaen street circuit. Again, you can see how tight that chicane is. Certainly not an overtaking opportunity. The next one, when it comes to an overtaking variety, is down into turn 18 and 19. So we come through this very fast. It's slightly less than 90 degrees. It looks like a 90-degree corner. You flick it through that, go through turn 17, and then into the braking zone of turn 18 and 19, where it is this quite open hairpin. There is the number 6 going on the attack, trying to find their way past. Of course, that is Dylan Yip trying to make his way past Bao Jinlong as well. And while Bao Jinlong is at the moment leading in the Pro-Am category and is basically taking everything in the title that he needs to be taking right now, maximum points in the Pro-Am category, he'll still want to be finishing in a decent position overall. He'll still want to be finishing in the top 5 overall. That'll be the important bit. He is competing in the overall championship. Obviously, Dylan Yip, that's the only championship that he is competing in. Did see Marco Giltrap. Oh, I thought he'd lost that position. No, but he's still way ahead of Nazim Azman, so never mind. On that one, heavily onto the brakes as they flick their way through the hairpin. Obviously finding all the grip possible, but alas, that gap is growing for the race lead. Now out to over a second. Florian Latour absolutely flying at the moment as he shows the pace that he could have shown yesterday as he tries to pull himself clear. Mungkong Satintirikul, by the way, is under a fair amount of pressure from Zhang Yatsi at the moment for the final positions, the final couple of positions inside the top 10. He's in 9th position, Mungkong Satintirikul, but of course is in the race lead of the AM category. Maybe he'll feel like he needs to win it by 10 seconds, however, with it not being a standing start, the likelihood of that being required is actually quite low, to be perfectly honest. As they'll snake their way through. Saw Bao Jinlong in the background there with Dylan Yip right over the rear end, looking for the move. Still very close in that fight for 5th position, as we'll see them work their way through this final section. Obviously, Florian Tor, Chris van der Drift there in the red car, who's in 2nd position. Martin Ragginger directly behind the full-time driver in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia is Martin Ragginger, as is Rodrigo Diaz Almeida. And so those two, who are locked on points, by the way, they've got exactly the same amount of points coming into this race. Well, they won't do afterwards unless they both retire, because then you wouldn't score any points. But at the moment, that doesn't seem as though that is going to be happening, because I will say, Ragginger's pace, very, very solid at the moment. Back to the 76, that is Mungkong Satintirikul, and we can see the pressure building on his shoulders from Zhang Yatsi, and the look to make a move. Obviously, we come down to the turn 6 hairpin here, and I alluded to it earlier. It looks like it's an overtaking opportunity. You've got to be patient, but look at how tight it is. You've only, even on the racing line, you've only just about got enough lock to get round the hairpin. So there's absolutely no way on planet Earth that you'll be able to sneak 2 Porsches round there. So obviously there is no chance of a move coming down into the hairpin. So you kind of got to focus on getting a good exit there, and then the run down the back stretch, of course, into turn 8. Those are the important bits. That's where your moves are going to come. That is where your opportunities are going to arise, and that is where you might be able to sneak your way up the order and maybe go after something special this afternoon. But alas, at the moment, the race extremely calm. It's much calmer than yesterday because, let's be honest, not much is going on right now. It's been very relaxed, of course, up and down the field as no one's able to find their way through. Although I will say that was a mistake from Bao Jinlong at the final corner at 18 and 19 as he went out slightly wide. This could be the move coming in from Dylan Yip, who's closing in on the race up the hill towards turn 1. But does he have the overspeed? At the moment, the answer is no, as he has to settle in behind. We head into turn 2, which of course, Bao Jinlong is going to cover over in the middle of the road, and so nowhere for Yip to go, as there has been an incident for the 61. That is Adrian De Silva, and there is some damage on the front right, that is for sure. He's driven into the barrier, and it's clearly rolled backwards. There has been something that's happened there. Whether he's been assisted or not, we'll have to wait and see. But that's not ideal. Will it require the intervention of the safety car? No word from race control as of yet. I'll update you if that changes. But at the moment, all the drivers, the most important bit for them is to ignore any issue and just get on with it. I will say with where that car was, Adrian De Silva probably could stick it in reverse and get it back going again. So there is at least a bare minimum that. as we'll see the yellow flag. Where is, I'm trying to work, sorry, I was just trying to work out where this was. There is the safety car. The safety car has now been deployed, unfortunately. I was trying to work out where on earth that would be, where you've hit the barrier at that angle in a left-hander, because I would have said it might have been down turn 7, but turn 7 goes the wrong way. It's going to be one of those corners around the back end of the circuit. Alas, the safety car deployed once again this weekend, and Florian Latour's 1.4 second, 1.6 second even margin will be diminished. As we get the update from race control, it'll be 10 laps of racing in this one. Here is the incident, just a big lock up into the Tech Pro barrier and then rolling back. Obviously the marshals want to get their car out of the way for obvious reasons, and also repair the Tech Pro barrier, which those Tech Pro barriers, by the way, are absolutely excellent, especially, you know, they dissipate such a large amount of energy. That is the important bit. They because they're so absorbing of that energy, that you're typically wanting to use a one of those instead of obviously plain arm coat, i.e. the metal. There's a, what is that? Is that a tow bar? I don't even know what that is. It's part of, I'm assuming, the rear suspension of some description, part of that assembly. But either way, just in the middle of the road, you do not want to drive over that. I don't know if it's an anti-roll bar or anything. I don't know my cars enough, unfortunately. I am not a smart man when it comes to engineering and stuff. But either way, that is certainly a part of a car, and it has fallen off. Obviously, I'm going to assume most likely through contact of some description, going down into turn 2, which probably would have knocked it loose, and then dropped it off the rear of the car. As to whoever's car that is, I would recommend you return to pit lane immediately. It could well have been Adrian De Silva's. We'll have to wait and see, as I'm sure they'll be desperate to find a replay. That's I don't know if we'll get one, because why would we have been looking at the back of a random car as a part falls off of it, as they return up to the rear end of the safety car. Again, still looking for the move. 9 laps left to go once we get to, well, 9 laps left to go from now. So obviously still a lot of time in this one, although I'm trying to work out if we're going to run to time or to laps. At the moment, it should still be laps with 90 minutes left to go and 9 laps, so it'll be 8 at the line. But they're not 2-minute laps. So realistically, we should be fine still to get the entirety of the 14-lap race distance underway. And we should be able to pick our way through it as best we can and potentially see who's going to come out on top. At the moment, it would be Florian Latour taking a very well-deserved victory on the return to the championship. But let's be honest, you get the feeling he's going to be feeling the pressure of Vanderbilt. They've not even caught the safety car, have they? They've not. This safety car might be out for a little while, ladies and gents, because they're still yet to get round, as we'll see on a replay as to exactly what's happened. The safety car's in this lap, that's why then. That might be why the safety car's disappeared off into the distance. Seeing on a replay as we'll head down into this on the start-finish straight, obviously down into turn 1. I'm not sure exactly what we're looking for here as to whether it's Adrian De Silva's car or whether it's something else. I don't fully know. But either way, they were certainly driving. They have now caught up to the rear end of the safety car, which will be into the pit lane again at the end of this lap. They have been able to get Adrian De Silva's car out of the way. And so the safety car will return to pit lane and we will get this race back underway. And again, I'm sure there'll be an awful lot of hopefully great racing, but we'll have to wait and see, because it's never going to be easy from this. It's not an easy circuit to race at. It's not an easy time to have round here, and again, we'll have to wait and see where the opportunities are going to arise and how good the start will be from Florian Latour. His initial start to the race was absolutely fantastic. We'll be looking for very much the same thing in proceedings here. They'll head their way down the back end of the circuit, then into the left-hander, and then down towards the double left-hander hairpin. Basically down, there's just 2 apexes. Down with the left-hand hairpin, and then back out onto the start-finish straight, where we'll see the control be retained by Florian Latour. That note the safety car is in this lap has been, I think, rescinded. Yeah, it has been rescinded. I was going to say that that note from race control was no longer on my screen, so that one is rescinded by race control, and so we have to wait even longer to go back racing. 46 degrees Celsius is the track temperature, which is 4 degrees colder than it was yesterday. So it's not exactly roasting compared to yesterday, which means the tyres should be all right. I mean, these Michelin tyres do generally do quite good when it comes to dealing with the high temperatures, but you never know, really. It doesn't take a lot to overdo them around a circuit like this. You've got a lot of corners that you're dealing with, and in that so little margin for error, it's so easy to pick up little flecks of rubber and stuff in the tyre, and that can just cause its own fair share of problems. That's even before you start thinking about the temperature games, where they'll have to navigate their way around and keep the tyres in the operating window. Safety car remaining out for now, but now we get the note as we exit sector 1. Safety car will be in this lap, so Florian Latour will indeed have the control. I'll roll you through the order whilst we're here. It's Florian Latour leading the way from Chris van der Drift in second position, Martin Ragnar in third, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida and Bao Jin Long inside the top 5. Dylan Yip in sixth position with Marco Giltrap, Nazim Asman, Munkong Satin and of course Zheng Ya-Zi inside the top 10 position. Liu Kai Shun will be in 11th position. And then Henry Kwong, Cao Tzi Kwong, and then of course Eric Kwong Li Chao, Li Juan Yu, John Shen, Hendrik J. Swati, of course in 18th position. Then Zhuzhe Feng, of course in 19th, Christian Cha, Liu Zhou, Eric Zong, and then of course Jackie Wu and Yao Liang Bo. The 24 drivers that remain in this race, a single retirement for Adrian De Silva, who of course has already had that car extricated from the race circuit. As they'll get their way ready now, and it's already the race start resuming, or the race restart rather, I should say, resuming for Florian Latour. So Latour will take over control at the front of the field. We'll head back out onto the start-finish straight, and with half the race left to go, it is Latour leading from van der Drift, but van der Drift is closer this time than he was on the initial race start, and can the 99 sneak away past, as he did in the previous race, where he made the move around the outside on the very first lap. That, of course, though, was from a standing start. This from a rolling one in a sense. Obviously, the rolling restart, but that was a little bit wide there from van der Drift, as once again, he is feeling the pressure. Van der Drift trying to dish it out to Florian Latour. Florian Latour struggling to deal with it, but dealing with it well, as he does indeed struggle around the race circuit. Heads into the hairpin at turn 6. It's a much closer train behind him than it was on the previous lap, so there is at least that as a major talking point in this one. But again, it goes all single file. Flash of the lights coming in from, I believe, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, who currently sits in 4th position. Again, he did have a really good start yesterday. He'll be another one ruining the fact that we didn't have a standing start in this one because of the issue with the starting lights. So rolling starts on both of them, effectively race restarts in both of them. And I say Florian Latour managing to deal with that so well, as he leads by 0.3 of a second from Chris van der Drift and Martin Ragnar, whose gap remains quite close. Bit of a gap showing between Rodrigo Diaz Almeida and Bao Jin Long, who currently sits in, oh goodness me, I thought they actually hit the wall, but I think it was some speedy dry or something like that they just picked up. But yeah, about a second and a bit between Rodrigo Diaz Almeida and Bao Jin Long, at least by my eye, which means that Bao Jin Long might be under pressure quite a bit from Dylan Yip and the likes behind and co, because in fact, actually I say that, but Dylan Yip's dropping down the order. So maybe Yip has had the yips, as he might have had a bit of a problem. He continues to drop, but I think he's got back going again in 9th position. So I'm trying to work out where you would have done that between, well, obviously where we saw the car of Bao Jin Long go off and the final kind of couple of corners. There's no real way that you, because basically what that's saying is that's not a spin or anything like that. That is basically going straight on or something in that vein, and making a rejoin to the, or rejoin the race surface or whatever, I don't know. It wasn't a major spin, so I'm not 100% sure as to what's happened there, unfortunately. What it has done, though, is it's cost him any chance of getting inside the top 5 in this race, you'd have to say, because he's got to pass the 888, the 17th, and the 84 before he even gets a whiff at the back end of the 87. That is a lot of work to do in not very long. Once we cross the line, it'll be 4 laps left to go here at the Bangsaen Street Circuit for Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. 4 laps left to go of the first half of 2024 in the championship. A lot to come as we prepare ourselves for the second half of the season. And of course, the championship, which could have closed up this round, but Dylan Pereira having a couple of issues. Alas, the champ lead did not close up. Alessandro Gueretti will be breathing a sigh of relief based on that, and hopefully we'll see him back out in action at Sepang in a few weeks' time, as we'll see Dylan Yip here, of course, after dropping his way down the order. He's now behind Zhong Yat-Si, of course, in the 8th position. And I will say, you know, when you're on a street circuit, sometimes if you have a mistake and you lose a couple of positions, well, you've got to sit there and look at the bright side. It could have been worse. You could have had a bit of a moment and end up in the barrier, at which point you're not losing a couple of positions, you're losing all of them. You'd be out of the race in that scenario. And so, well, I say that, but, I've seen drivers hit the wall and carry on, so actually I'll back out of that one. But you follow my point. You follow my point. As here comes Yip into the braking zone of turn 6 in the number 6, and again, still no opportunity to pass. It's been a little too a little calm, a little too calm almost for my liking. As no one is able to make anything stick at the moment. Our race leaders in each of the categories: Florian Latour, of course, overall, Bao Jinlong in the Pro-Am category, and Munkong Satyantirakel by only a second and a half, really, in the AM category, because of course he does have one car behind him, the buffer, Liu Kai Shun. But then he's got Henry Kwong, who's done a great job. Eric Kwong has dropped back down the order to 15th position, curiously. So not 100% sure as to what's happened to the champ leader in the AM category. We'll have to update you there. There was Eric Kwong coming through the foreground a shot. He's got Li Chao directly behind him. But yeah, dropped down a whole heap of positions. It's Henry Kwong who's the one in 12th position rather than Eric. Eric Kwong just sat down there in 15th. So not ideal for everyone out there in the toasty afternoon, as I'm sure the difficulty is rising in the car. Half an hour is a long time to be in a car like this when it's absolutely roasting. They'll be very thankful of the cloud coverage, which probably has aided the interior of the car tenfold. Where it doesn't make that much of a difference outside for the overall temperature, it can just make it a bit more thick. Inside the cockpit, not having the constant sunlight, it does make a huge difference. There's a look at Munkong Satyantirakel then. Of course, the AM leader, and the pressure which is growing on his shoulders from the likes of Li Kai Shun. And as they all look to make the pass, where is the opportunity going to come? Of course, I say that it was Li Kai Shun, who's the pro driver directly behind, or pro-am rather, directly behind Munkong Satyantirakel. As we have 3 laps left to go at the now, so it'll be 2 at the line. And again, the gap for the lead has grown to 1.3 seconds at present. It's 1.3 back to Chris Vanderdrift, then back to Martin Wagner, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, and Bao Jinlong. If anything happens towards that front group, don't worry, we will not miss it. But alas, again, the excellent play there coming in from Florian Latour and Team Jebsen, who just seem to be melding well with the racetrack, as that is a big crash into the barrier. Unfortunately, that is Nazim Azman. Unfortunately, into the barrier hard. That could end the race, to be perfectly honest, because that will require a safety car. And I don't necessarily see us going back racing again in the next couple of laps. So that there is confirmation. It is probably going to be a safety car from race control, although I did get a note from race control, so I will update that one. As there is a unsafe rejoin under investigation for Dylan Yip. There is a look at the incident. Nazim Azman unsighted, a little bit too deep on the brakes, makes contact with the barrier. That's it, game done. See you in Sepang, I'm afraid. No update from race control as to whether there is a safety car, so they're desperate to try and get this race finished under proper racing. There is seriously a low amount of time left to go. 12 laps of the 14 complete. Florian Latour's at the fastest lap of the race and will take the bonus points with it. And again, how important could that be when it comes down to the championship finale? We've not actually really spoken about the situation for some of these drivers, like, say, for example, like Ragnar and, of course, Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, as now the safety car has been called, and I believe that will end the race and call it quits. I do believe, just because I don't think there's enough time to get round and finish things off. Also, I believe we're going to be heading on to the final lap of the race. I'm trying to work out, based on my live timing from the top left, I think it's laps completed. It's always the way. You never know if they're laps completed or laps on. But I do believe we completed 13 of the 14 laps, which means we'll be out onto the start-finish straight, and then sending it back round once more, where we'll, of course, see you in a few weeks at the Sepang International Circuit, where I hope the racing will be better. I love my street circuit racing, but the racing this weekend's been a little bit... I mean, race 1 was a little bit messy. Race 2's been exceptionally tame as they filter in behind the safety car and head their way down towards turn 7. And turn 8, of course, as well. Notes always being made by engineers, whether it's on the safety car or however, they will always have some form of notes as a man who looks like Simon Pegg, to be honest, with slightly longer and less ginger hair. So basically, it doesn't look like Simon Pegg at all. Just sits on and watches and waits for the drivers to return to pit lane, which, because I don't believe I've just got the note. Final lap of the race will finish on the safety car, as expected. No way will we be going back racing, and this will be it then. Florian Latour will take the victory from Vanderdrift. So he puts to bed the issues of yesterday and has basically completely dominated this race, but I'm pretty sure that'll feel like quite an anti-climax. Even for Florian Latour, of course, who did take, I think it was 5 victories on the way to his 2023 crown of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Championship. The driver he beat to do so was Vanderdrift. So, they both know how to get these races done. They both know how to get these race victories, these championships done. Of course, the pair of them, Florian Latour, champion last year, Chris Vanderdrift, 3-time champion in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, and that's only in here. That doesn't account for any of their accolades elsewhere in motorsport, where they've basically got a it's a scroll on Wikipedia. Let's go that way. Just how much the pair of those two have raced, and quite a lot of the time have raced with each other as they just keep competing. They keep competing in the front. They keep doing what they do best as. All these drivers will head down into the final hairpin and out onto the final, onto the start-finish lap. And of course, it will be Florian Latour taking the victory from Vanderdrift, from Ragnar, and from Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida. They work their way out onto the start-finish straight and punch their way towards the line. It'll be as close as it was yesterday, but no changes for position. Latour leads Vanderdrift, and then Ragnar across the line. Very solid drive from the Team Jebsen squad, returning the 55 up to the victory, where it has been so many times this year. Of course, in the hands of Alessandro Gueretti, it has been the dominant force so far in the year. Gueretti scoring himself a whopping and mind-boggling, really, 3 excellent multiple excellent results throughout the season. That's, of course, 5 excellent race victories, and just continues to rack up the podiums as here comes Latour then into the hairpin. Just a very solid drive from Latour, and just didn't put a foot wrong. But then again, neither did really anyone. It wasn't a thriller, I'm afraid. The only thing that really caused any excitement there was Nazim Azman and Adrian De Silva, who both seemed absolutely fine as they unfortunately retired from the race. We'll get you the provisional race results as soon as possible, as Florian Latour, Chris Vanderdrift and Martin Ragnar will be on to the podium in the pro category. And again, just I'm trying to work out, I don't think there was any changes in that race, with the exception of Nazim Azman and Adrian De Silva. I think those are the only drivers that have caused changes. I don't think anything else changed in the order there, unfortunately, just because of again the nature of street circuit racing. as we'll see the provisional race classification. Then Florian Latour will take the victory from Chris van der Drift, Martin Ragnar, Rodriguez Diaz Almeida, and Bao Jin Long, of course, in 5th position. Marco Giltrap, Dylan Yip, Zhang Yatzi in 8th position with Munkong Satien Tirikul in 9th, and Li Kai-shun inside the top 10. Great effort from Li Kai-shun, and of course a podium as well to go with it in the Pro-Am category. Henry Kwong will be in 11th position with Cao Tzi Kwon, Li Xuan Yu, Li Chao, with John Shen, Eric Kwong, and of course Henrik J. Sawate. Don't know what happened to Eric Kwong there. Maybe we'll have to find some way of catching up with him. Zhujev Feng, you saw there, Christian Cha, Eric Zhang, Li Wei, Jackie Wu, Yao Liang Bo, and of course the retirements from Nazim Azman and Adrian De Silva, the two Malaysian drivers out of the race, sadly. Sometimes that's just how it unfolds, as into Parc Ferme and onto the top step once more this season. The 55 heads to it. It's of course not Alessandro Gueretti behind the wheel. It is of course Florian Latour, who's put in a blinding effort in that race, and again has delivered the goods for the Team Jebsen squad that expect it so many times. And he makes it a 4th different winner in 2024, of course, in the pro category. Do you remember Bao Jin Long and Munkong Satien Tirikul have both taken victories in Pro-Am and Am alike. Hopefully none of them get penalties because, well, it wouldn't be that great. Let's take a look at what highlights we have of that race. Highlights then from round 8 of the championship, which would start under safety car with Florian Latour leading the way down into the first corner as they would navigate their way round all in single file, and no one being able to make moves down into the first and second corner. Florian Latour leading from Van der Drift and from Martin Ragnar. Close battles from those behind, but the gap for the race lead was indeed growing. It would get to around 1.4 to 1.5 seconds. He was putting in all the solid lap times. Meanwhile, Munkong Satien Tirikul was feeling the pressure of the cars behind. The first of which being, I believe, the likes of Zhang Yatzi, who was able to work his way past. A retirement, unfortunately, though, for Adrian De Silva, as he would hit the barrier quite hard. He's absolutely fine as he got out of the car, but still it was a pretty heavy hit that would cause the safety car. It wasn't the only safety car that was required on the day, though, as we'll see in a few moments' time. Munkong Satien Tirikul continuing to deal with the pressure, no longer of Zhang Yatzi, but more of Liu Kai-shun, who was right over the rear end. Here is the late race retirement, of course, the final safety car. Nazim Azman out of the race, safety car deployed, and we got the note from race control. The race would end at the end of this lap, giving the victory to Florian Latour, Chris van der Drift, and of course Martin Ragnar back on the podium as they would cross the line. The other categories see Bao Jin Long and of course Munkong Satien Tirikul winning their races. A superb performance from our top grouping, and of course a superb performance from our race winner and pole sitter. We'll head down to Chris to see who he's catching up with.
Big win then for Florian Latour. Florian, you're telling us yesterday that you were having problems getting used to the clutch, but you must have gained some advantage from the rolling start today.
Yeah, I mean, of course, when you start behind safety car, it's one line, so I mean, you never see someone overtake after the safety car, especially on the street race. So for sure, it was a big advantage when you start on pole position. So I take it, yeah, for sure.
Sad to say this may be the only weekend that we get to see you this season, but what an event to come to. It's such a lot of fun here, isn't it?
Yeah, for now, I think it was like the best weekend I spent in Asia, for sure. I mean, the atmosphere and the track, which is just amazing. We don't have this kind of track in Europe. We have some street track in Europe, but not like this, I would say. And then I really enjoyed this weekend.
All right, well, enjoy Thailand and the rest of your stay here. It's been great to watch you in action again.
Yeah, I would be short, but thank you. Yeah.
I don't know who on earth Chris is, but I've invented someone to chuck out there. Of course, thank you to Steve Dawson there for catching up with Florian Latour, and a very well-deserved victory there. Of course, we'll see him onto the podium with Chris van der Drift and Martin Ragnar. And again, like I say, an enjoyable weekend there from Florian Latour, and understandably why. A couple of pole positions. Sure, it wasn't the race victory yesterday after a couple of poor starts, but still it was good enough for second place. A first and a second on a return to a championship shows he's still got the the cutting edge of the front of the field, and was able to deliver the goods in this one and take victory by a second. Another driver who did very well this weekend is Bao Jinlong, taking victories in both of the Pro-Am races. Let's see what he says.
Bao Jinlong, another fantastic performance, managing to finish 5th in the entire field. How was that race for you today?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm finished the race and no crash and finish. I'm so happy. And Thailand is good. I like here.
Thailand is wonderful. You were saying there was a new tire and that may have caused some difficulty for you?
Yes, the temperature is down a lot. So maybe, yeah, our setup is very good. But we don't know the temperature is down very fast. And at the beginning and end, to the end, my temperature is a little bit too low. So in the low speed corner and the middle speed corner, I have a big understeering. Otherwise, I think I have a chance to attack the front cars.
Well done. Enjoy the rest of your stay in Thailand.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to say, to have had a victory there for Bao Jinlong, that's, the first bit ticked off. That's all very cool and all that. But to be competing inside the top 5, to actually have the pace to really go after the podium, that's the important bit. Only finished a second behind Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, who was only himself 0.2 of a second behind, less than even the podium of Martin Ragnar. So realistically speaking, Bao Jinlong was only about a second and a bit away from finishing on the overall podium, but he'll have to settle just for his podium. We'll head down to Am though and see Mongkong Sathyanthirikul again.
What a weekend. In fact, what a few weeks it's been for Mongkong Sathyanthirikul. 4 races in Thailand, 4 wins, although downgraded yesterday. But you've been on that top step of the podium 4 times. You must be very satisfied. Tell me.
Yeah, the more I drive this car, the more confident I got. So yeah, it's very good. I mean, today race is very good because we have quite a long race, so it's quite fun. And I have hit the wall on the right, but it's okay.
Bao Jinlong was telling us that drop in temperature just before the start of the race caused problems with the tires and the grip. Did you feel any of that?
I'm not fat enough to feel anything like that, so I think it's okay.
All right, there's so many people here, I'm sure, wanting to give you a pat on the back. Go and enjoy your people, and well done. It's been fabulous.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Lovely vibes again from Mongkong Sathyanthirikul. Just like to say, I'm not quite good enough to realise the difference there. I think he's playing that one down. He is absolutely good enough. Quality driver is Mongkong Sathyanthirikul, of course, the only Thai driver on the grid, delivering on home soil once more with a 3rd victory in 4 races. It'll have to be now. Realistically, it was 4 from 4 on the road, but we'll call it 3 from 4, all on home soil, of course. They'll go onto the podium. Of course, it'll be the Pro, then the Pro-Am, and then the Am podium. So we'll see Florian Latour, Chris van der Drift, and Martin Ragnar take the podium, along with Bao Jinlong, Zhang Yatzi, and Liu Kai-shun on the Pro-Am. And then in the Am category, it'll be Mongkong Sathyanthirikul, along with Henry Kwong and Sotsi Kwan, who, of course, onto the podium in the Am category. That's a great drive after the dramas of yesterday, where Sotsi Kwan obviously retired from the race not on the initial start. He was the only one to retire from the race from the restarted race yesterday, which is very frustrating for him. But alas, to work his way to an Am podium here today. That'll be a pretty sweet accomplishment, as we can see the fantastic podium here that they'll be jumping onto. Florian Latour will be up to the top step of it once more, having won the race by 0.9 of a second. I would assume it'll be Goretti back in the car next time, but either way, let's see the top 3.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium presentation for round 8 of Porsche Carrera Competition 2024 in Bangsaen. Let's now invite winners for the N class. On 3rd place, field driver number 117, Tom Chiba from Global Racing. And on 2nd place, field driver number 91, Henry Kwong from Triple Ace Racing. And on 1st place goes to driver number 76, Mongkong Sathyanthirikul from EBM Giga Racing. like to invite Mr. Ben Ma, Michelin Motorsport Asia Pacific Director, to present the third place trophy. All right, can we invite everybody to come together as we take a group photo together? All right, big smiles in front. 1, 2, 3. All right, once again, thank you to all of our award presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some champagne.
As everyone jumps off the podium with high speed, it's the AM podium here. Munkong Sati and Tirikul, Henry Kwong and Sotsi Kwon after an excellent performance there in the AM category. And again, a brilliant drive, as we would expect from Munkong Sati and Tirikul. Will be the Pro-Am up next with Bao Jin Long, who obviously, you know, I'm not going to say this is the most incredible performance of his career, because it certainly isn't. You know, he's had plenty of high-level performances. He is obviously the defending champion of the Pro-Am category, but it has been a very solid performance from Bao Jin Long this weekend. He's been messing it properly with the pro drivers, was keeping Nazim Asman for company all the way through the previous race, and was keeping the top 5 for company in this one.
And now let's invite the winners of round 8 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2024 for the Pro-Am class. On third place, we have driver number 33, Liao Kaishun from RMB Racing. On second place, we have driver number 888, Zhang Yaqi from Phantom Global Racing. And our winner goes to driver number 7, Bao Jilong from Phantom Global Racing. Now allow me to invite Mr. Alexandre Imperatori, the manager of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, to present the winner trophy. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Boyan Chi, the senior manager of One Make Series of Porsche Motorsport Asia Pacific Limited, to present the second place trophy. Last, I would like to invite Mr. Ben Ma, Michelin Motorsport Asia Pacific Director, to present the third place trophy. Let's invite everyone to come closer for a group photo. Okay, group photo time. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. All right, once again, thank you to all of our award presenters. It's time for champagne.
Oh, it's taken him ages to get the. That's poor. That's poor. Poor form. Come on, boys. Got to be able to get those, get that popping much faster than that. Of course, I joke. Excellent podium and very well deserved. Bao Jin Long, who has been fantastic all weekend at the top of the Pro-Am category, returning to take 2 victories. We'll say though, you know, we've had a few other solid attempts in the Pro-Am category. Zhang Yazi, who of course did take pole position in the race yesterday, and looked quite good from it. Unfortunately, didn't win that one because Bao Jin Long's pace is actually pretty scary during the race. But alas, it was an impressive pole position from Zhang Yazi that will give some confidence for the second half of the season, which of course really does begin in a few weeks' time. We'll jump to the pro category though to see Florian Latour take the top step.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's invite the winners of round 8 for Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2024 for the overall class. On third place, we have driver number 86, Martin Regiger from Team Porsche Holding. Second place, we have driver number 99, Chris Van der Dream from Toro Racing. And of course, winner goes to driver number 55, Florian Latour from Team Jepson. Congratulations to the dealer trophy goes to Team Jepson. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Alexandre Imperatori, the manager of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, to present both the winner trophy and the dealer trophy. Next, I would like invite Ms. Boyachi, the Senior Manager, One Make Series of Porsche Motorsport Asia Pacific Limited, to present the second place trophy. Lastly, I would like to invite Mr. Manma Michelin of Motorsport Asia Pacific Director to present the third place trophy. Now let's once again invite everybody for a group photo. Big smiles! 1, 2, 3. All right, let's get ready for champagne time. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. Again, very, very impressive. Lovely stuff. Do remember, though, we are back for 3 more weeks of racing. We've got the Sepang International Circuit, Marina Bay and Shanghai to wrap out the season. Of course, that's in October, though. Next time, we'll be heading to the Sepang International Circuit for 3 races on the 10th and 11th of August. Hopefully, we'll see the likes of Alessandro Goretti, Dylan Pereira, and, of course, Matthias Jobert back into the championship to see a night race, to see an extended 45-minute race. A lot to talk about at the Sepang International Circuit. We will see you there for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia.